I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Man, that is a sad clown.
Dude, that's pretty good.
This is The Gloom, bringing you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha Packs, exploring their F3 experiences and finding those sticky elements that create the glue in the gloom. Today on The Gloom, we've got a man who was recently the site Q at Red Wings. I know if you're like me, you've noticed just the veins in his arms during most name videos. And then you've also noticed that this guy brings his 2.0 out to a lot of workouts, which is just really cool to see. And I think most recently there was a Nugent flag pass from father to son, which was really cool. So we've got our man Convoy on the show today, and Convoys, it's great to see you. And I don't know if maybe it's just the workout shirts. I'm not seeing the veins in the biceps right now, but that was a little bit. Yeah. Just I've heard it's all the yard work. It's not actually the Murph or the Murph. That's right. Where we'd like to start with, guys, is just who EH'd you, what was that first workout like, and how did you get the name Convoy? So
yeah, absolutely. So my man Roadhouse EH'd me. Roadhouse and I went to high school together. I moved down here with my family just before I was finishing up my junior year of high school. And Roadhouse, he's the same now as he was back then. He hasn't changed a lick. He looks the same too, actually. But we would play pickup basketball at lunchtime. And so that's how I bumped into him. And anyway, we become very close friends over the years and stayed in touch. But anyway, so I actually went to college in Cleveland, Ohio. And after I graduated, made my way back to Omaha and bumped into Roadhouse again. And he's like, he was actually trying to EH one of my brothers and had been working on him for several years and was getting nowhere. And I said, hey, what are you guys talking about? And he's like, oh, it's this morning workout thing. And I was like, I'll do it. And he's like, really? He's like, that was super easy. Yeah. So, went to a Saturday workout and I was like, well, this is pretty cool. Good way to meet people. So yeah. Kind of
do you remember who was leading the workout that day at all? It's tough to remember.
Oh boy. Yeah. It was July 11th, 2 years ago. I remember that. It might have been Honey Stinger. I can't remember. I think maybe. Yeah.
What,
not 100% sure.
Was it a tough workout, or that might give us a clue? If it was a tough workout, it definitely wasn't Honey Stinger. No,
yeah, I don't think it was. I was like, this is easy. The hardest part is getting up. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
What about the name Convoy? How did that come about?
So I work at a truck leasing company. So we haul mail for the Postal Service, and we have a ton of big rigs. And so we take those trucks when after 3 or 4 years, we'll take them, shine them up, and then we'll lease them out. So a group of trucks, and that someone latched on that and said Convoy, and it stuck. So yeah.
Okay. So it's a good name, and it kind of fits, right? How do you feel about the name? You like it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. After doing this for a couple of years now, but yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah. What?
Sure.
Tell me about, from a fitness perspective, were you working out before, or what was your fitness level like before you started?
No, not at all. In fact, I always made excuses. I couldn't squeeze it in at lunchtime. I didn't want to do it after work. I've got 3 kids, and they're 16, 14, and 12, and they're all into everything. So just like most guys, you're running around like crazy, and the last thing you feel like doing is working out. And I never thought I'd be a morning workout guy, for sure. But yeah, so coming to F3 was a good way to plug in, and really I wanted to do it to meet people. I had just gone through a divorce right before joining F3, and I just kind of needed an outlet. I needed to make new friends.
Yeah.
meet good people, like-minded guys, and you get in your routine at work and with the kids and all that, and it's just kind of hard to branch out. So F3 was perfect for me.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I was gonna ask, right? Because your story it's a good one, but it's not typical, right? He wasn't even really going after you, and you were interested. Was it,
yeah.
from a life perspective, you feel like, was it the divorce and just the desire to make some new friends or new connections? Is that what you think kind of had you in a spot where you were ready to do it?
For sure. Well, and with Roadhouse, he's a character in the first place, but he was so passionate about it. He's like, this is great. We went to Creighton Prep together, and he's like, it's everything that you experience when you start at Creighton Prep. The fellowship, the camaraderie, there's a religious component, but not not overwhelming or anything. But it's just good, solid people with the right message, and you get to sweat a little bit too, which we could all use more of. So
yeah. Nice. Well, so did you see, as you started and were getting more consistent, did you see an improvement in your kind of physical fitness level, or what was your experience there?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Yeah. And then you just kind of get, you kind of get addicted to it. I'm kind of an all or nothing guy, and it's like, geez, you try to post every day, and then you're meeting more good people, and you start to recognize faces and remember people's names. And it's like, this is pretty cool. So it doesn't take long to get hooked on it.
Awesome.
For sure.
I love that. And so the biceps just grew naturally over time. Is that
Well, I stole a page out of Chicklet's book. I actually have some dumbbells at work. I throw a few up during the day.
Okay, I'm writing I have a list of all the things to do to be more like Chicklet. So if that's so then you came in, you were kind of seeking the second app, really, and you started getting more consistent. And from a fellowship or second app perspective, what's been your journey there? How has that been going for you?
That's good too. You know what? The incredible thing is as you get to know people, and really this is more when I became a site Q. You start texting people asking them if they can lead a workout, but they hang on to your number, and just the text messages that flow if you've not been there for a couple of weeks, or if someone hears that there was a prayer for you in the circle of trust at the end, they might just shoot you a quick message and say, how's it going? Heard about this, hope you're doing. I mean, that's just so cool. You don't get that. I think especially for guys throughout the day, you're small talking and sports and work, and just a quick little message from somebody is pretty cool. And actually when at Aldrich, FDIC was the site Q before me, and that guy is amazing. I mean, every time I would post there, he'd send me a message and say, hey, thanks for posting today. You're doing great. I noticed you accelerating. You're an inspiration. I mean, just the positivity that flows from that guy was very inspirational.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think you're touching on something there that a lot of us, it's easy in our own world, or at least for me, to focus on all the things I need to do better. And so to have somebody else acknowledge, like, hey, I see you, and I can tell you're trying to move in the right way, or you're accelerating. I mean, those messages of encouragement are so impactful. I think just give you the confidence to move forward. What about, you mentioned that, I had just recently talked to Doppler, and you mentioned, kind of being divorced before you came in. Did you have a chance to connect with the D3 group at all, or is that something you've been able to, I think they're calling it the divorce dudes and drinks group.
Yeah. I have not. It hasn't quite worked out with my timeshare with the kids. But that is something, I'd like to get into, because you hear about, I know a lot of the guys in that group, and it's just it's nice to relate to people that are going through the same things that you are.
Yeah.
So for sure, that'd be something to plug into.
Cool. Yeah. It's interesting. He mentioned, I think it's Gator that goes regularly, who's, his marriage is doing fine, but he just goes to support and to listen and understand. What was your experience when you came in? I mean, were you able to kind of share your story with guys, and what was their response? I mean, did you feel connections on that level?
Yeah, I with F3, it's like a no judgment zone all the time. You don't have to worry about if you're the most fit guy or not, or if you've got it together or you make the most money, or there's none of that. I mean, everybody just leaves that behind. You know, you don't have to brush your teeth to show up. I mean, it's pretty cool how laid back everyone was. So if they ask, you know, a few questions about, you know, how'd you get here, whatever, and you choose to share that, it's like, okay. I mean, it's like whatever, you know, and then you bump into a few guys like Doppler who are kind of going through the same things. And so that's just good mumble chatter when you're working out too. That's kind of nice to, you know, to just kind of compare notes and just be able to talk to somebody who's going through it too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think, like you said, just having a sounding board and, you know, guys and maybe even give you advice if they're at a different phase of a process than you are. You know, I've certainly benefited from guys that are, you know, going through similar things and are, you know, 10 years into something that I'm only a year into. Right. And, you know, it's like, you know, I remember, gosh, who was it? Maybe Retweet or somebody when my second daughter was born, and just kind of this struggle of like, oh man, a baby takes away, you know, all of your freedom. And, you know, I think just have somebody else say, yeah, I felt that way too, but, you know, here's some ways to get better or to not focus on that. So definitely good to have guys with similar journeys. What, have you had a chance to read any of the kind of F3, you know, Free to Lead or do any Q source discussions? Have you found any helpful insights there?
Yeah, I actually have read the Free to Lead book and passed it on to another guy who I EH'd at work here. D. Cleat is his name. But I think knowing that, you know, when you read that and you realize that this isn't just a you thing, like some of the stuff that you're going through or some of the ruts that you might be in, or, you know, kind of the ups and downs and the yo-yos and the self-doubt and, you know, just trying to find your place in the world as a dad and in the community and at work. You know, you kind of get, you know, I'm in my early 40s, but you kind of get to a stage in your life where you're like, God, this is it. You know, I mean, you know, what can I do? Where can I go from here? I don't want to just keep, you know, sleepwalking through life.
Yeah.
And I think just to know that that's not uncommon is very reassuring. And that the guys who started this were just trying to come up with an idea to create an outlet, and it morphed into this huge organization that's just changing people's lives. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, most of the guys that read that I've talked to, you kind of start reading and you're like, okay, they're talking about my story. You know, I've been through that, and it's cool just, you know, to have a couple guys come up with this idea, like you said, and you know, it's also cool just to hear the history of the organization too, and gives you some of the foundational stuff too. What curious, so you mentioned just being a dad, so I want to ask you about Bieber. I don't know if we can say he's the Pax with the best hair anymore. I don't know if you made him a haircut or not, but what's been how has that been? What's been your experience pulling your 2.0 into some of this stuff and getting his perspective?
Well, it's funny because you know, he's like, there's no way I can hang with a bunch of guys, you know, and then, you know, he sees me and he's like, well, you're kind of getting old and you still can do it. So it was kind of just some friendly banter at first. And it's like, okay, well, if you think you can hang, then come do a workout. And, you know, obviously getting up early, and he's in 8th grade. He's like, I don't know if I can do that or if I want to do that. But I realized in that at first it was just kind of I'm going to do it one time and check the box. But then he really started to plug into, boy, this is more than just a workout. And my message to him is like, look at all these guys that are searching for just some connectivity. And going from 8th grade to freshman year at a new school, not knowing if he's going to make a sports team, not knowing really anybody. I think he knows one kid who's going there. That doesn't ever go away in life, whether it be a new job or new circles of friends, or you know, you have kids and activities, and you've got to your life constantly is changing from circle to circle, and you've got to be comfortable with yourself and learn how to connect with people and find the right people to connect with. And I think that's an important message, no matter how old you are, but especially as an impressionable, you know, 14-year-old. And again, I'm 43 and he's 14, and we're both still trying to find our place in the world, and how you can make an impact. And it's just the what you learn from F3 is just so incredible, and you don't realize it happening until you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been pretty cool to see him plug in and accelerate and realize what a cool thing it is. So
yeah, I know there's been, I think some regions even have like an age limit, or for 2.0s, and we've just always said, hey dad, if you think your son is appropriate for an F3 workout and can handle it, and you're willing to manage, if plague or somebody says something they shouldn't say and you lose it, but what are your thoughts on that? If other guys are kind of, thinking about bringing their 2.0, I mean, how did you approach that with Bieber?
Yeah, me going, my ex and I going through our situation, and I know the last couple of years, so it's been about 2 years now. He kind of had to grow up a little bit fast, and you see and hear things that maybe most kids his age didn't. So I kind of knew that, and he's pretty mature for his age anyway. But just telling him ahead of time, you guys are going to be very honest about what's going on in their lives. I want to make sure that you're comfortable hearing that, and if you have any questions about it, just let's talk about it. But I don't ever want to hide anything from you, and I think you're old enough to handle most content. And we'll just kind of take it one workout at a time. And if it ever gets weird for you, then let's talk about it, So that, I don't know. You never know. You get a little bit nervous. Like, I want to make sure the other guys want him there and feel comfortable sharing. And, that he's not slowing the workout down, or we're having to wait for him too. So I don't know. It's kind of cool how Omar's been so laid back about it and just kind of leaves it up to the dad.
Yeah. How has that gone? Has anything come up, or what's been what has it done for your relationship with him? Just kind of that father-son relationship.
It's definitely been, and I've talked to Wait Time a lot about it. He kind of latched onto it right away, saying, "Hey, I noticed your son showing up quite often. That's really neat." He's like, "That's really special." And for Bieber and I, it's been really good. I mean, I realize that no eighth grader wants to get out of bed at that time in the morning. So you kind of start to realize that he's not really doing this for him so much, because he's got basketball camps and football practices, and he's doing it for me, to spend time with me, because it's something that I enjoy doing. So that's pretty cool. And I didn't realize that at first. I just thought he was trying to prove a point, show up as old man. So that's been neat to realize, and kids continue, as they blow you away every day with what they can do for your life. So it's been a really neat experience for us.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that, and I think it's one of those things where you just, and I'm sure Wait Time, because his son Daniel's son used to come out. We haven't seen him in a while, so Wait Time, if you're listening, get back on the EH there for your son. But I think it's just cool, right? Because you know what it does for a relationship with somebody that's not your 2.0, and so you just kind of imagine and I think it's cool too for him to, like you said, realize like the need for that doesn't ever go away, so finding systems and tools and ways to build that into your life and your routine is, gosh, if I could have learned about this at 14, I would have saved myself a lot of trouble.
Right.
No, that's great. I love that. And tell me about the Nugent flag, giving him the Nugent flag. What was that like for you?
He said, "Dad." So at the time I had the Red Wings site flag as well, and so he's used to me carrying around a flag in the car. And he's like, "Well, why do you have two flags?" And I was like, "Oh, well," and I explained it to him, and he's like, "Don't you dare give that to me. I don't want it." He's like, "I don't know what to do. I didn't even know the guy. I don't know what to say." I'm like, and then so we're sitting there, after the workout, and he looks at me and he's like, he knew it was coming,
Yeah.
And of course I'm going to give it to him. I was like, you got to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's okay. And he knows that about me. I'm always pushing him to do that, to be a little bit uncomfortable. But he handled it like a pro, and he did a really nice job with it. So it was a pretty cool thing. And then wait time was there, so he took our picture, and it's actually my screensaver on my phone. It was a pretty cool moment. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to transition a little bit, talk to you about the third F. So from a faith perspective, talk to me a little bit maybe about where you were before. You mentioned going to Creighton Prep, so maybe there's some ties there, but what's been your journey from a third F or faith perspective?
Yeah, I think, well, coming into it, with my personal situation, you start to doubt things a little bit and maybe aren't as plugged in, for sure. And certainly that was my case. A lot of emotion, a lot of roller coaster of feelings and things like that. So it was a good time for me to try to reconnect. You go through your educational years and it's just ingrained as part of your curriculum. It's kind of built in, so you just do it. But obviously when you get older, you have a choice. And so having that as that third F component as part of a workout and building camaraderie and relationships, it's something I was used to growing up, but maybe had just kind of, walked away from it a little bit. And so it was a good way to bring it back in and say, oh yeah, this is definitely a necessary part. So it was, again, perfect timing for me in my situation.
Yeah. Somebody the other day, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but we were talking about kind of sometimes doubt and, questioning and, like even just being around guys that have different faiths or religious beliefs, right? That's so helpful because it makes you re-ask, right? Ask the question again. Why do I believe what I believe? What do I believe? I love how F3 simplifies the what, right? What happens when I die and what does that mean about how I live my life today? But do you feel like, so through F3, do you feel like you've been able to kind of reconnect with some of those, the roots of your faith, or maybe even grow a little bit more?
Yeah, I love how they say Sky Q. We say Sky Q at the end. It's like at first you're like, what are they? Just like everything, you're like, what are they talking about? What's a merkin? But for sure, just realizing that can become a part of your daily routine again, and not in some huge, large way. It can just be small, snippets here or there, but it's important to just stay connected. So for me, and then having Bieber go there too, it's like, you're always kind of pushing yourself to set a good example. So just going to church more regularly. And so for sure, that it made an impact on me. It's like, and I maybe like most guys, I'm kind of an all or nothing type guy. You start working out, you start eating right, you're like, I should kind of get the rest of my life in order. So it just kind of follows suit too. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love hearing that. And I guess the other side of kind of the third F, it would be, like the community involvement or, kind of engaging in some of those third F events. Have you had a chance to do any of those, or any stories you would share from a maybe community service standpoint?
Yeah, so we did. So I grabbed Bieber and we did the food bank thing where you go and pack boxes and sort and do all that, and we've done that a couple times now. So that's been good. I think it's always out there, and certainly through Creighton Prep, that's part of the deal when you go there. So, but it's easy to make excuses not to do it or to be busy or whatever. So, being able to do that with him, not a ton, but a few times, and knowing that it's there has certainly been a good thing for us.
Yeah, it's been incredible just to watch the number of opportunities grow. I mean, it's like you could always find something, every week there's something you could go and do. I also, so you recently handed off the shovel flag for Red Wings, but I want to kind of journey back from a leadership perspective. Do you remember, and hopefully you do, but I think there's some of these like really cool events. So like your BQ, do you remember that event, and what can you tell us about your BQ? How did that go?
Yeah, of course you're nervous as hell when you start. You're like, I don't even know. Is there a map? Is there an outline? Is there, what do I do? So, and I had kind of kicked the can on my VQ a few times, like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Yep, I'll do it. And then something comes up, but um, you know, uh, I shared the workout itself was fine. That was the easy part. Memorizing the spiel at the beginning, it's a whole different ball game when you're the one saying it.
No.
So I mean, I had posted quite a bit, but then it's like, oh gosh, I don't want to screw this up type of thing. So doing that and then just getting into the workout was fine. And then at the end, the COT, I ended up sharing a lot more about my story and where I was at than I had intended. But those are the best COTs, the ones that aren't pre-planned and scripted and something, they're just reading something and it's just organic and cool. And the guys are just so receptive and engaging, and they come up to you afterwards and talk to you. It's just so cool. It was a great experience for sure.
Was that do you remember what AO that was at, or was it a Murph, or what was it?
It was a Murph. It was a Murph because I kept kicking the can with FDIC, and he's like, "It's easy. The workout's like already planned." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm worried about remembering the 5 core principles." And so, yes. So
I love that. It is funny. There's something about, like, even when I have planned out a COT, just something happens during the workout that like inspires you to say something more or something different, or so I agree. It's like just hearing what's on the guy's mind is often way better than a planned leadership quote or something. I've been trying to do more of just the raw kind of COTs lately, so which is good.
Yes. Yeah.
So you did your VQ, and obviously I think we notice, right, when guys are really accelerating or engaging, and so then FDIC identified you to hand the flag off to. And what was that like, just being a site Q and having that responsibility? Did you enjoy that, or were there other opportunities that you found like were a part of that you really got to experience?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and knowing how great of a leader FDIC is, at first I think it's human nature to say, "Oh man, I can't be him. I can't do that." Those are big shoes to fill. But he never lost touch. Like it wasn't like, "Here's the flag, see you later." He was still very connected and checking in with how are things going type of thing, which is obviously makes it very easy. Being a site Q was, I think, the best part for me, especially doing a Murph with kind of the workout already in place, and not really doing back blasts. I mean, so it's a good learning site to grab guys who you see accelerating and saying, "Hey, why don't you give this a chance?" I mean, don't worry about knowing everything. You don't even have to worry about planning a workout, but get up there and just do it. And man, once you do it one time, you get that rush, that high, and you're like, I can do this. And you just see the confidence, and then they just take off from there. And that's awesome. That is the best part for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And the Murph has always been a great, it's like essentially you come up, you have to learn to say the core principles, which, like you mentioned, that a lot of times is the factor that guys are intimidated by. And the COT, and so it's like, hey, it's a really good approach, and there's a lot less planning involved, right? I think, which is helpful. I think, and the Murph has maybe always been intended for that purpose. I don't know that we've always done a great job communicating that for like a guy that shows up, at a non-Murph site. But what about, so we're doing this Murph challenge. Well, sorry, before we go there, talk to me about blades and just kind of your selecting the successor. What was that process like?
Well, Blades always gives me a hard time because he's like, he tells me I was his 6th choice on the list. So, which is not true. He's a guy who I just naturally connected with. We're going through a lot of the same things, and he's a little bit quieter guy, but he's very, we talked earlier about mumble chatter when you're just, you might be partnered up or something, and we just connected right away. And actually, I think he was talking about starting a new site, a new location. And I said, "Hey, listen, I'm looking for a guy here, and I think you'd be great for it, a great fit." Um, and he said, sure, I'll do it. I mean, it was pretty easy. Yeah, he's definitely the right guy for it, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the other thing with the Red Wing site, we talked about, kind of tossed around adding a non-Murph workout to launch from the same location, and so there's some opportunity there for Blades as he's watching the packs come in and out of Red Wings. If there's guys that are wanting that, definitely more opportunity to grow just in the same spot too. So I love that, and I agree. I think Blades. I remember meeting him at cafeteria at Karma for the first time, and I loved his name right off the bat. I think is phenomenal, and the fact that he was actually a figure skater. I mean, you don't meet too many guys with that background, but I think once I got to know him a little bit, we connected as well. I think he's a phenomenal leader, and I think giving guys an opportunity to lead, at a site Q level is just it's another step, right? It's like it's the BQ, and then you get to lead at a site, and just continue to see that confidence grow. So I love that. Talk to me about the Murph challenge. So I think before the Murph challenge, I would have said a lot of guys are intimidated by the Murph, but it doesn't look like it. Because we got so many guys doing 24 Murphs in 60 days. But what's been would you have any advice, or what would you tell a guy that's like, oh, I can't come to the Murph, it's too hard? What would you say to that guy?
You just got to do it. I think you get, just like anything in life, you look at, I've got to do 200 of these and 100 of these, and no way I can't even do 10.
Yeah.
You can't look at it like that. Break it up into pieces. I mean, how many people could say they could run a marathon? Probably very few, right?
No.
So just get out there and just start it. Take it one set at a time, one rep at a time, and just try to improve. It's you versus you, like everyone always says.
Yeah.
Just keep chipping away at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you'll be doing doubles in no time. The second one's easier than the first one.
That's right. Yeah, you're in such a daze from the first one, you don't even know you're doing the second one.
That's right.
No,
That's right.
I think that's good advice. It really is. I mean, I think there's also the modify is necessary, right? I think it's really just another chance to get out and be in the gloom. And I think some guys have been modifying the pull-ups on a Murph for 2 or 3 years, right? And then I think you get to celebrate this milestone of like, hey, I did all of the push-ups or all of the pull-ups unassisted this time, and so I think you just create more milestones if you have to modify, and there's nothing wrong with that, I think. And if you're on the other side, then do like hard hat and put a weight vest on, and try to get up to 30 pounds in there. But I've seen a lot of guys with their weight vests out for the Murph challenge, and I had to pull mine out of storage and see if I could still. What if you're thinking about just over the years, guys doing their VQ or new guys coming in, or just your exposure to the packs, any advice or encouragement you would share, just kind of in general, to guys that might be listening?
You can always do more than you think you can, for sure. Whether it be trying to do a Murph workout or leading a workout or even being a site Q. I remember FDSE approached me, and actually Tater Tot talked to me after a workout too, in the dead of winter, and said, hey, you'd be really good at this. And I think part of F3 is just seeing yourself as a better person. I think we mentally sell ourselves short a lot in life. And building that confidence and that reassurance, and like I was talking about, the quick text messages from fellow PAX members as you're accelerating, all that momentum is so huge, not just for the workouts, but in life. And men nowadays, I think, need that. They're just expected to shoulder the load and figure things out on their own, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I was listening to something recently, and the guy said, see the seed and not the tree. Kind of, realize the potential you have now, and don't look at this like final state, right? Realize you're still growing like a seed, and you don't have to be the full tree yet. You can grow there. But Yeah, I love that. I think that, you know, you're spot on because so many of our limitations are self-created. You know, it's like you know, who says you can't do that thing? It's like, well, really just me. But you know, it's yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. What about for you?
for sure.
You know, is there anything else kind of in your story or your journey that you would want guys to know or want to share?
Uh, you know, not really. And I'm in a pretty good spot these days.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling pretty good with where I'm at. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
And any prayers or you know, I guess what do you know when you'll be back out in the gloom? Do you know when?
yeah. So I've got a doctor's appointment this week, so I should be back. I'm hoping back next week out there. So
Nice.
yeah, yep. And prayers for me. I always just pray for my kids. You know, divorce is tough, and I didn't have to go through it as a kid, and especially as a teenager, you got enough on your plate already. Um, so I just pray for them that they remain strong and they feel comfortable coming to me, and I hope I'm doing the right things as a dad always. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we'll be looking for you next week, and we'll be asking. Hopefully, Bieber will be with you, and we can give him some flack too, right? No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
encourage
cool.
that.
Well, hey, this has been great, and I think your story, like so many guys, is just it's relatable, and I think I know we've got other guys out there that have been through similar things, and so I just appreciate you taking time to share a little bit about who you are, and so if you're listening and you see Convoy out there, you know, get next to him and ask him some questions, you know, and then ask him how you can support him because I think you know as we continue to grow leadership and community. You know, within F3 Omaha, I think we continue to see more and more leaders and more guys with impactful stories. So thanks for your leadership, man. I'll take us out in Namarama. Sound good to you?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Brandon Flehardy, 36, The Plague.
Pat Corrigan, 43, Convoy.
Convoy, nice. Do we have a sound that we make with Convoy? Like, has anybody done can you do like a
No, they've kind of tried the
like yeah,
Hong
like
Kong, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. I know it.
we'll have to get that started, or maybe you can emphasize the Y or something like slow pitch does. No, I'm kidding. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate your time. This was phenomenal. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, Blake.
You man.